I got an All India rank 1 AFMC. So I think I'm in a good position to tell you that that is not what success means. I did not end up going there, and everyone on the planet told my mom like, oh, is your son who got the first rank in the country and did not go to AFMC. And everyone who has no role to play has that discussion with my mom, even whose children or who themselves are not doctors, right? Because being good at what you do and knowing what you need to do are very different things. I wanted to tell myself I'm really good at it, but what do I want from life? I figured out I wanted to go to the US, I wanted to practice neurology, and this is not what was taking me there. This was something that the society will probably force me, like, I get a great rank and everyone's taking radiology, but I don't want to be a radiologist. And you have to be strong enough to tell yourself that okay, not a lot of people are taking surgery these days, but I want to be a surgeon. So that is the journey to your success. And same thing, you can apply that at different levels. But feeling happy about your own decisions is very important. The other thing that I realized along the way is regret is born to kill your present potential. We all make mistakes, we all make good decisions, bad decisions. But never look at them as a reason to regret. If something you figured out is not working out for you, think of it as an opportunity that, oh, you figured it out in time, and what do you want to do from there? Regret it will only kill what you are capable of achieving from there on. The third thing that I feel is also very important is to remember at all times being kind is very important, not just to people outside, but to yourself. It's okay, be a little patient with yourself. If you're having a bad day, it's a bad day. It's only going to, if it's too bad, it's only going to get better. If it's too good, no, it is only going to get worse the next day. That is how things happen. That is how every little thing happens. That is how waves operate. But try to be in a zone where you don't get too attached to the happiness and too attached to the sorrows. You want to understand that your life is a Venn diagram of academics, because your career is something that will stay with you all your life. No one's going to take that away from you. You're going to define who you are by your career in a big way, and that's why it's important, and that's why everyone in school focuses on this is important for you, this is important for you, because you will have moments where you will feel like this is the end of the world, I want to die, this is crazy, I don't want to do this. That happens to everyone. And when I was at your age, I used to feel that why is it happening to me? It is happening to everyone in their own ways. Everyone has different problems. And as and when life happens, you will realize, oh, I've had this problem and I've dealt with this and I'm doing fine right now. So in the moment, telling yourself, finding yourself the people who have good at your heart, going and telling to them that this is what I'm feeling and can you help me with it? Asking for help in any way, academic, emotional, social, is very important, and you have to feel comfortable with it. The fifth thing that I felt is great in this country, especially the school that we are privileged to be in. I think like I draw all the learnings, all the confidence, everything that I learned has been from this school. I was in DAV starting from kindergarten till +2, and I could not have had a better decision. Not to say there aren't like better things that I could do or not, but you make decisions. You don't make right or wrong decisions. You make decisions and you make those decisions right. So whatever you end up doing, you make those decisions right. I will give you a fine example. In my med school, in my college, I realized there weren't a lot of national quizzing opportunities. I always wanted to have like houses, like in Harry Potter in my school, in my med school. And I used to be like, why do I see these in movies and why do I not have that in my med school, right? So I could either crib about it, like I was just unlucky, or I was like, let's figure it out. And by my second year, I started joining these organizations where I was a college head, I became the national head, I became an international member of the committee, and I came to a place where I was able to create an organization of 8,000 people across India who were in similar colleges, who did not have like houses or quizzes or activities like that. And it's like, it's not just me who craves for all of these things, right? So I designed houses for across India for those 8,000 people in that organization. And I made it become that thing with teamwork, everything that I wanted myself to be a part of. So obviously I wasn't a part of any of the houses because I had kind of brainstormed it. But it just made me feel so much good that you either use an excuse to not do things and crave about it, or you make them happen for someone else. And that is actually more rewarding. So things that you get, you put yourself in a habit of feeling great about it. You start feeling happy about them. Things that you don't get, you look at them as opportunities to make those things happen. If they matter enough to you. If they don't matter, if you're like, I really don't care, that's not your cup of tea. It's okay. But if it was distressing me to the point like, I really want to have a good life, I really want to think 30 years back from now that I was involved in all of these quizzing activities, then make it happen. And your passion could be anything. For example, in my very niche area of neurology, everyone understands neurology, right? The brain, the spinal cord, the nerves. So you end up doing MBBS, then you do medicine, MD, then you do DM in neurology, and that's what I'm doing. So my passion was always understanding why all of this gets so specific, but we should never forget that you're a doctor at the end of the day. So common things happen more commonly. I always used to connect neurology to general medicine, so that everyone feels like, oh, neurology is not a beast that they should fear, right? Simple things like, has everyone heard about what a stroke is? Can anyone volunteer what a stroke is? No wrong answers.
Come on. Anybody can say anything about this. Stroke. What is the difference in neural signals?
Neural signals. Okay. Almost very good. Do we know what a heart attack is? Has everyone heard of a heart attack? Does anyone know what a heart attack is? How does it happen? Exactly. Exactly. So all your cells in the body need oxygen, right? And nutrients to survive. So your heart itself is also an organ. So if the blood supply to the heart is compromised or there's a clot, blockage हो जाता है कि heart का एक tissue का part is not able to survive well, it dies. A part of the heart dies, which you call heart attack or myocardial infarction. Similarly, every organ of your body has blood supply. अगर ब्रेन का हार्ट अटैक होता है, अगर ब्रेन की एक पार्ट को ब्लड सप्लाई नहीं आता, उसको हम स्ट्रोक कहते हैं. So it's literally heart attack of the brain. It's the same thing, right? And it's easy to understand. It's what I just said. You don't require a PhD degree to understand. सबको समझ में आया? And similarly, I found reasons how to explain a common person that, oh, this part of the brain does this. If you see this in a person around you, this is how you react. अगर किसी को स्ट्रोक होती है या सीजर आता है, मेरे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये जानना कि उनकी आईज लेफ्ट देख रही हैं या राइट देख रही हैं, बिकॉज मेरी मैनेजमेंट पे बहुत फर्क पड़ता है. एंड व्हेन वी यूज्ड टू गेट अ लॉट ऑफ मेडिसिन, पीपल हु आर डॉक्टर्स who used to consult us and they were like, oh, we never looked at the eyes. So either I can crib about it, like, you're a doctor, you don't even know that, or I can be like, okay, we'll figure it out, but I'll explain it to them. Why is it important to do that? Because जब तक मैं सीन पे आऊँगा, वो seizure resolve हो चुका होगा, right? So connecting your knowledge to practical implications is very important, and take it up as your own responsibility to do that. In the US, what I figured, the two differences are, knowledge that I have here theoretically is like I am above anyone else there because we learn so much. We are put in this habit of knowing everything, which I used to love. A lot of people go there were like, what do I do of the history I learned? What do I do of the geography I learned if I'm in medicine? But I was that person, I found uses for all of that. And it started making me feel so good about myself. Like, अगर मैंने कुछ पढ़ा है, you find use to it instead of letting it be कि वो सिर्फ exam pass करना है. And then you decide how you want to go about it. The other thing is, we have all that knowledge, but our confidence is lacking a lot of times. It's okay if I ask you a question, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा, गलत हो जाएगा आंसर. अगर गलत हो जाएगा तो that's an opportunity to learn. You will never get it wrong from there on. और सही हो जाएगा तो you'll feel good about it. That what you knew, you felt confident enough to like express it. So that's what I always had. say yes, because if someone's presenting, they actually want you to interact, because that's the best way you are going to learn the best. So having that confidence, no one's going to judge you for wrong answers, is very important. एक और चीज़ जो मैंने सीखी, which I think was a very recent experience, which I think I literally day before yesterday felt I transitioned from being a student to a doctor in real life, was a lot of times in your airplanes and everything, you have like, is there any doctor on board? And I always used to feel like, oh, I'm still kind of a student. I know all of this theoretically, but what do I do of my knowledge, right? So there was a child who hit his head really hard and then started crying, almost fainted off. And my first reaction was to just go run to that child, and without even thinking, I was performing a neurological exam to check what is going on. There was this family of the child, a little baby, and telling them to get a CT scan, to get these things done, to let them know like if this changes, you need to go to the hospital right away. And you can sense in their eyes how much paranoid a family is, a couple is, if their child, a little baby, has as simple as something like a scratch. So this is like a head injury, right? And it comes down to how you communicate. I can say the same thing to that patient in a way that they will get those things done, and I can say the same things in the same words that they will not get it done. I can make my patient paranoid about what they could have by saying the same things, and I can console my patient that this is okay. And all of those things will never come to you again. Up medicine, medical school, you will learn the theory, you will learn the recent advances, but my communication skills, my ethics, my morals all came from school. And you end up realizing when you are at that stage, when you see people, because those don't change them. And that is so important, especially in the line of being a doctor. In the US, you can be a great doctor, you can be a terrible doctor, but if you don't know how to talk to your patients, you are nothing. And I think that's how it should be, because even I hear so many patients here कि डॉक्टर ने देखता लेता पर मैं सवाल ही नहीं पूछ पाया अपने. And I think that's not fair. It's your body. Your right on your body should be first, and we come second. I can give you my medical opinion. I can tell you it in a way that I'm concerned for a stroke. This will happen. This is the worst that can happen, and this is the treatment that I would get, and I will tell them like if this was my baby or if this was my dad, I would get this done. And that should be enough for the other person to know what that means, right? But if I'm like just taking a prescription, writing the medication and throwing it on their face, I don't think so. It's fair enough to call myself a doctor, because you're a healer first. You have to understand how people feel about your reactions. So what I'm trying to say is, remember whatever greatness you achieve in your field, it has to be holistic. Being someone who was decently intelligent, I was never fascinated by super genius people. I was always fascinated by people who are holistically intelligent, which means, sure, good IQ, but how emotionally intelligent you are, which means can you handle yourself in bad and worse situations, which I had to learn myself. How socially intelligent you are, how are you around people. And I would prefer everyone is 70, 70, 70 on all three, instead of like one is a person with 100 IQ and nothing in the other two domains. Because for me, if a person who's becoming a radiologist with all India rank 1 and not feeling happy about their life is not successful. And problem kahan aati hai, we just blind ourselves and we run, okay, let's get an all India rank 1 and वहाँ से देखेंगे कि अगली चीज़ करनी क्या है. But then there is this illusion that breaks that I'm not happy, because we never asked ourselves, we just thought कि दुनिया को लग रहा है ये हमें खुश करेगी. And no one cares if you are a practicing radiologist or you are a surgeon. If you're happy, you're happy. Same thing with whatever profession that you're in. I'm assuming, is everyone in medicine?
Most of them, they are medical aspirants, yes.
Okay.
All, yes.
So I think asking yourself that this is what I want to do, exploring those domains is very important, and that will also give you the motivation to do it, instead of us feeling that work or study is a task. I think the default has to be like work or studying is an opportunity. not everyone gets to do it, right? Especially if it's in a direction that we want to go. And I think we are at that stage where we choose care medicine. So think of it as an opportunity that you're getting to do it. Instead of feeling hey, this is your baseline and this is stressful and relaxation is a task. That is not how it should be, right? I can obviously talk about a lot of nitty-gritty things, and I think everyone's at a different stage. How do you choose? Why do you choose medicine? What do you choose within medicine? If you plan to come to the US, how does the journey look like? If you plan to go to the UK, if you plan to go and stay in India, how does it look like? There's lots of nuances to it. I think everyone's at a different stage. If that is something that is relevant, I can definitely answer the queries. But I also have a YouTube channel by the name of Medically Mediocre by Avi. You guys can feel free to like use that because that was born 5 years ago when I left my med school with the intent कि अगर मेरे को ये चीज़ किसी ने 5 साल पहले बताई होती तो I think I would have saved a lot of time. So same thing. If no one told me at that time, I knew that I could be that person who can tell it to 10 people, 5 people, and it just became so big by now that I feel so happy when I get these random messages that thank you for putting this up, because I'm sure there are a lot of people amongst us who will go on YouTube and who will search those videos but they don't feel comfortable coming up and asking. And same thing, everyone's busy. I would love to be able to help everyone one-to-one. The truth is, we can, right? And as much as crazy social media is, if we use it the right way, somewhat can be beneficial, right? Uske alawa, I think I'm happy to answer any specific questions that anyone has. But overall, one thing that I've been living by is remember that it's a cycle. Wherever you are, I was exactly there. I was probably worse. I've had a couple days where I got okay and good in my dictations and I was really crappy about it. It's okay, but I think वो चीज़ समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है. All the failures that you have are important to let you know that it's okay. It's not the end of the world, because that will inspire you to be better. Problem तो आती है like if we are like always high functioning, always topping, and then one day we enter this reality like there are toppers out there in the world too. So you're no more the first across India. You are now an average person because there's toppers across the world, and that is not the end of the world. Because then you rate yourself and then you push yourself. What is your goal? Because अगर आप ये समझ जाओ कि तुम्हारा गोल ही कुछ ऐसा नीश है, तो कंपटीशन है ही नहीं वहाँ. जो तुम्हारे को बनना है वो किसी और को बनना ही नहीं है, तो वहाँ कंपटीशन है ही नहीं. And gradually it gets better because everyone gets spread apart, and you gradually realize कि ठीक है, I need good money to live a good life, but how much do I really need? How much does time matter to me? How much does family matter to me? But at this stage, I think one thing that I can tell you is all of that luxury of comfort of me thinking that I can choose what I need to comes after a security of career, comes after a security of that I'm set wherever I am. So this stage is very important. It just gets crazier if you are not secure, feeling good about your profession, you're not feeling comfortable about what you need to do. So I think making up that mind, and that will just help you go in the right direction. That will also tell you that it's okay to relax in the middle of it, but the bigger picture is you making it at the end of that goal that you've set for yourself. And it's okay to ask for help from the right people who make you feel good about it. It is not necessary कि अपने कमरे में छुप के पढ़ने की जरूरत है. You can always come out and ask people around you who inspire you, who study, go out. Inspire that good culture of sharing knowledge and make education cool too, right? But it is. We're all smart people. We all chose to be doctors. And we are all mediocre. That's why I call myself medically mediocre, because if we were idiots, we would not have made it to medicine. And if we were geniuses, we would not have chosen medicine, right? So we are all mediocre. But that's about it. Thank you so much for being a lovely audience. Happy to answer any questions. I genuinely think of myself as a very regular human being who just did one thing right, who chose to walk towards what he wanted to do at every stage. And that just made things easy. People will call a lot of people intelligent, people will call a lot of people geniuses, but it's much easier than that. You end up doing what you need to do, what you have a calling for. And sometimes we don't know that calling 100%. Sometimes we think we like something. It's okay to take a shot at it, and it's okay to tell yourself, I loved it, or I probably did not love it and I want to try something else. But based on the assumption, we all kind of are tilted towards medicine or biology. I'm going to say a few things that I felt when I was on this journey. So when I was in my 7th or 8th standard, I always used to write some poetry and do some art, and my dad's an orthopedic surgeon. So he always told me, do you really want to become a doctor? Go explore your art, right? And it's we'll see. All I know is I love physics, I love biology, I love chemistry. I don't know if I want to be a doctor, but that's the next step. So let's take up medicine. And I did that the same way a lot of us will do, have been doing for years and years. I enjoyed studying, not because I enjoyed studying necessarily, but I enjoyed studying because I was doing the subjects that I wanted. If it was biology, it was a feeling of me thinking how privileged I am that I'm getting to learn all of these things, have answers to questions that my mind has always had. And I could not imagine if I was someone who was I want to be a doctor at the end of it, but I really don't like these subjects. It's going to be a task for me every day. And it's not like you're born with love for everything that you do. You have to nurture that love at some point. Everything will have pros and cons. No one enjoys exams. I'm not excited for exams. But in retrospect, I get the value of it, and I understand that every challenge that you overcome is what makes you feel good about it. So same thing, I took up medical in my +1, +2. If I used to have a physics test tomorrow on some random topic like thermodynamics, I was studying waves because I wanted. And that is how I operated. One thing that I realized is at this age, and at every age, we will not know everything. We're always learning, we're always practicing, and that's why our teachers, our guides are there. And this is the most beautiful time to be, where people take up ownership of you. People take responsibility for you. People want you to do really good. That's the zone when you have your teachers in school. Once you get out of here, no one cares. You are on your own, and you miss all that guidance. You are your own guide with all the limited knowledge you have. But one thing that you need to remind yourself at all times is, who's that one person who has known you all your life? This person who's lived with you for 20, 25 years, and that's only you yourself. You know that over the last 10, 15 years, you figured out, oh, this is how I operate. मैं ऐसे पढ़ाई करता हूँ, या मेरे को relax करना ज़रूरी है, या I want to go play 2 days before I have my exam because that's how I operate, and that's fine if you know yourself that well. So listen to everyone, especially people who have good for you in their hearts. But also know gradually you are sculpting yourself to be your own guide, your own teacher when you're ready to go out in the world. For example, what does success mean to me? And for everyone it needs to be very different. It needs to be a certain proportion of satisfaction, money, travel, whatever is important to you. That's your version of success.